Dun 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 dun. Dun dun dun. All right. Dun 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 dun. There we go. We got it up. Alright, so what do we do for like 2 minutes while we're waiting for it to actually hit the right time? I don't know. Just wait. Do we look at another game? Let's just play another game while we wait for like it to actually hit 7. I have no idea what this game is. Oh, I remember. I remember what this shit was. This is not going to be a pleasant experience. Also, this happened on Mishi's stream, so some of you may have seen it. But we'll just go through this, give people time to gather. And then we'll go straight into the 12 Duels. Which will mainly be Underworld related content today. Bit of a filler arc. Anyway, I shouldn't be fast forwarding this because it's interesting stuff. Mishi's gone straight for a wolf, barbed wired up his entrances. There's no real way I can get in there, so there's no point in me attacking. And I just go mass eco. Honestly, I could have gone harder on eco. I could have just gone, sold more warrens, gone all of these, bought another meal. I was a little worried though of being subject to my own to getting hit by a run by. I sold everything. So this is my answer to wolf. Is to just get as many lizards as possible. Nullifies the speed advantage a bit. And if you just maximize the DPS against wolf, you can kill them. The wolf doesn't buff health, he only buffs damage, so going full DPS means you can prevent more damage than trying to tank it by killing them quickly. So getting skunked for nothing. Move in. I'm trying to get the wolf. I probably should just focus down his other units, like the squirrels or the skunk. Would have been fine then to move in on the wolf. But I'll just keep going with the same old plan. Managed to get a quick run around. Destroy this base, which didn't have much left on it, but still better to get than not. My income lead at the moment is huge. And I decided to go for my own wolf. Now I'm considering here just going for the fight. I decided to just go for the mill and then go for the fight while I was here. Do get the wolf, do get most of his stuff frankly. I probably could have gone for this skunk, actually, looking at it. I had quite a lot of lizards left. I don't think I really need to run. Don't worry, Law Friendly, we won't be streaming this for long. It's just while we're waiting for people to get here. And then we'll go into the Underworld games. We're going to start with Arilu versus Dr. Playtech. Arilu being the guy who took out Pyle in the Underworld, so I'm going to enjoy watching him, see if he can replicate the success. I definitely could have just attacked there. There was no reason for me to run away. I think at this point I just got really cocky. And there's going to be a certain action that cockiness... well, cockiness and curiosity. Yeah, I think this is about to see it. I start to wonder, how good are wolf buff toads going to be? And with this much economical advantage, can I produce enough toads to completely just overwhelm him? I don't think anything happens for a while. It's just me putting down toad warrens, buffing economy. I kind of wanted to get to 100 toads, but Mishi didn't give me time. So I'm going to try and move in. Thing is, it's very hard for toads to do anything against skunks who are running away. I mean, the toads are dying so quickly in this skunk gas. But I decide to not back down. I'm going for this. I've sold all my lizards. I've burnt my boats. Also, I just realised the wolf isn't actually buffing any of my toads because I'm holding down the rally button. So that's a mistake on my end. But why? For science, of course! I wanted to see how bad toads really were, because I think 60 of any other unit with a wolf buffing them would have been able to do this. Although I am mismicroing it, I don't bring my wolf along, and when I do, I don't get the buffs I need. So my toads actually can't catch up to the skunks, and that's a problem. The fact that I can't kill the skunks while they kite me. I mean, that's one of the problems. The other problem is my toads are constantly all dying, which means I have to spend so much money rebuilding them. I can't actually go up on farms anymore, even with my wolf buffing my economy. Kind of a consensual statement. I don't think you're using consensual right there. I don't think that's what consensual means. Oh, and apologies, but because this is going to be a 12 Duels episode, that means I have to put it onto YouTube for the collection. And that means I won't be able to do song requests, because song requests lead to the video getting muted for large times. So unfortunately for tonight, no song requests. I'm sorry. I'm trying to buff up my toads so they can get out quickly, but everything dies. I'm able to keep on throwing jihadist toads in for a while, and I realise I have one last shot to do this. I go for the base. But because I go for the still farming base to try and put him in starvation, but that means I have to go further. And in that time, he was able to get up 2 other bases. That was definitely a throw, but it was a throw for science and to make a point that toads are really, really bad. Even if I could have microed it better. Alright, all the way back to the down to the bottom now. All the way down to the Underworld. We've got Araloo versus Playtech first, and then the winner of those will fight against Snek. And then hopefully we'll be able to do Shadow versus Skeleton live. Because I've got the bracket set up. I don't know if I can show you that anywhere. But it's been sent to me. The winner of Araloo Playtech faces Snake. The winner of Snake versus his opponent will go against Skeleton. The winner of Skeleton versus them will go against Shadow, and Gustav and Kolaroo are on their own little prong, as the most recent ones to have got eliminated. Ah, there you go. Unfortunately, it does give a bit of a spoiler away. Possibly. Because I'm guessing Skeleton beats whoever the Snake beats. Or maybe I've misunderstood this hugely. Or whoever wins against the Snake goes against Skeleton. I'm guessing Skeleton must have won his fight, his first round, if we're discussing Shadow versus Skeleton. Or maybe I've just misheard something. It is best of 3. It's best of 3. You get double chances. Alright, so Playtech versus Araloo. Squirrel, lizard, skunk, chameleon, owl, mine. Against squirrel, lizard, falcon, chameleon, boar, mine. So, a lot of similarities. Couple of key differences though. Skunk Chameleon is a pretty good combination against Squirrel Lizard, and does alright against Chameleon itself. But the fact that Playtech has nothing that can shoot up other than his tier 1 might lead him into trouble. Okay, so how's this going to go? Araloo's going to have... I mean, both players are kind of going to have difficulty expanding. All the mills are right in the middle. In a big long line. I'm not sure who has the edge in this map. It's pretty even, you gotta say. I think maybe Playtech has a slightly easier time with it due to this one being more out the way. It's pretty hard for Araloo to get round to this mill, but not impossible. Another thing I'll be interested to see if this goes to tier 3 is how do the owls fare against the boar? How many owls does it take to overwhelm a boar? Because I'm not entirely sure, but with no pigeons for Araloo's boar, in fact no pigeons at all, I expect gunning down this boar to not be too difficult. Oh, and we're seeing some aggressive expansions. Expansions have to be aggressive pretty much on this map, though. But Araloo has secured the high ground. Both players have put down some mines to try and get their expansion secured. Araloo has the advantage here with one extra chameleon, and Playtech sells his building mill and then decides to rebuild it. Interesting. Oh, and that chameleon took a lot of damage there. This might be a good moment for Playtech to move in. He's only got the one, but... oh, that chameleon had healed almost entirely up. And Araloo gets a huge advantage there, winning that fight. That was a very hard position for Playtech to engage in. Especially with... he had lower numbers of tier 1, I think, in general. Lizard Squirrel is a pretty good answer to Mass Squirrel, but the chameleons really nullify that advantage. The lizards get caught on the chameleon for so long. And only having one chameleon against two is so... two chameleon is so much better than one. It feels like more than two. It feels like more than double the value is got from two chameleons instead of one. Alright, so Araloo did take down Pyle. You'd expect him to do relatively well now. He's emerged as from unknown to a favourite, and he's moving in. He does lose his chameleons, but they got so much done that now all his squirrels are alive. And he can just get on these farms. I wonder if Playtech's going to give up here. He is rebuilding chameleons, but he's 5 farms behind. I don't think he can hold this off. He's trying to expand. I wonder if he's going for a base trade with his chameleons? But no, doesn't get time. There are no Pyle games. There will never be any more Pyle games. Pyle is dead. Pyle got knocked into the Underworld by Pingu, and then got knocked into the Super Underworld by Araloo. Now, I really should have cleared out more games. I need to go through this and decide which games I want to keep. But moving on, Araloo versus Playtech. How is this gonna go? Or I've heard that you can just move the replays to a separate folder and then copy them back in if you ever want to watch them. That would probably be a good idea. But I think a lot of these are still from the last patch and are not going to be worth anything anymore, so I should get rid of them. But anyway, that's then, this is now. Playtech has changed up his loadout quite a bit. Got rid of the lizards, got rid of the mines, got rid of the owl. Has changed into squirrel, pigeon, mole, skunk, chameleon, badger. And Araloo's going for something similar again. Squirrel, pigeon, falcon, chameleon, badger, mine. Badger for the boar and pigeons for the lizards. I'm curious what made Araloo decide he needed to change his loadout. Usually the losing player will think, okay, this loadout isn't going to work, I need to change up my strategy. But the winning player usually doesn't have that obligation. And oh no, Araloo! Playtech goes for something fancy, but Araloo scouts out. I don't think he scouted the cell, but I don't think Playtech's going to be able to fool him here, and Playtech sells for real now. He goes back and starts putting down his Warrens to defend Araloo's counterattack. It's a shame. That would have been big if it had worked. And it was far enough away that I think Playtech needed to disguise it better as a scout. Playtech sort of just ran straight into the corner. He needed to come in, scout the base, and then run away. That probably would have made it easier to believe. I mean, I guess Araloo was expecting Playtech to counterpick, but I'm not sure, because, I mean, there wasn't any counter-picking really involved in the last match because it didn't really come down to loadouts. It was just Playtech took a bad engagement. The loadouts they had were basically the same. Just Playtech tried to expand, just moved to a bad expansion, expanded a little slowly, and wasn't able, and engaged before his army was ready. So I'm not sure about that, and I'm not sure why they'd both go to this, because neither one of them saw the boar come out, or the owl. Araloo would definitely have gone Badger if he thought Playtech was going owl, but he never saw it. I guess maybe it's to counter the chameleons, perhaps? And once you're sticking the Badger in, you're pretty obviously going to cut something for pigeons. Alright, so Araloo's got the chameleons out again, but his commander goes down. Oh, Playtech needed to micro this better. He could have pulled his... He needed to pull his army way back and then start shooting while the chameleons were on the mill. He probably could have got there. He probably could have got at least one chameleon, maybe two. But instead he just loses a bunch of squirrels. He needs to let the mill tank move back. And, oh, here, he's not going to be able to micro again. Okay, he's got the mill helping him. The chameleons for Araloo are taking a lot of damage. Playtech has won this fight, but he's going to walk straight into mines. He's going to lose his chameleon, I fear. No, it stays alive. Can he keep pushing? Araloo is building a badger. I don't think Playtech scouted that. He has not. But the chameleon counts are now even again. Playtech has a chameleon on its way, but so does Araloo, and Araloo has a lot less far to walk. I think Playtech needs to go in now. He doesn't know about this badger, but he needs to go in before it comes out. If this badger gets out, he's not going to be ready for it. He's hesitating too much. He was waiting for his extra chameleon, it seems. But now, look at all the food he's floating to try and get this while he's trying to find the right angle. He could at least be putting moles down. He's going for the mill, and it looks like he is going to get it. Or not. He decides to retreat. He's retreated. He's backed himself into a corner here. And now the badger's out. Playtech's army gets completely obliterated. Alright, I'm expecting Araloo to just be able to walk in here and add another notch to his belt, because nothing in Playtech's deck is good enough to fight the Badger, and Playtech agrees. And that's game one. Game one of the Underworld. Araloo keeps on moving on. He killed Pyle. He killed Playtech. He's becoming a bit of a reaper. So now he's going to go fight the Snake. See if he can continue his killing spree. Alright. Lord and Saviour Snake trying to save himself from damnation with Squirrel, Pigeon, Falcon, Skunk, Badger, Mine. And Araloo going with basically the same loadout. Squirrel, Pigeon, Falcon, Chameleon, Badger, Mine. So it comes down to Chameleon versus Skunk, and the Chameleons do win that fight. I think Araloo has the advantage here in loadout. So does Araloo have like a bunch of experience with other RTSs or something? Is that why he's as good as he is? Oh, and Bale for Chegg. Thank you for the follow, man. I need to figure out something to do for 100. I've been saying that for a while. I'm thinking of holding a tournament when I actually get that far. But I don't know the twist on it. Or if there even should be a twist. Maybe it should just be nice and simple. Because we haven't had, like, really just... I mean, I guess we have those every week in the Pocket Bot. I don't know. He played StarCraft 2. Okay. So he knows the basics of RTSing. So... where do we go from here? Araloo is going to have a slightly harder time expanding, but not much. Like, these bases are so far away from Snek that he can't really... like, Araloo should be able to defend them. This one is a little risky, but this one's fine. Snakes are better, though. Being nice and close. And Araloo is going for the riskier one first. He's putting down a mine to give himself a bit of protection. But it won't do much against the squirrels on this high ground. And Araloo is behind on squirrels. I think he needs to wait for this. Oh, and he's getting squirrels caught out here. 0-second squirrels. A little bit broken. But can this chameleon pick it all up? Araloo took major losses there with all his, with a lot of warrens going down, but he did keep the mill. And he does have his chameleons. But I think going for a farm is maybe a bit too greedy here. Snake is going to want to push his advantage. He needs to rebuild. And he definitely needs to sell this farm now. If this mill goes down, he's just going to lose it. But two chameleons are clearing this up pretty well, but they are weak. I don't know if they can continue to hold. He sells the farm. He figures he can't hold on to the base. I think that's the right call. It's a hard call to make. And actually, he might have been able to hold on to it. He's microing these chameleons very well. Keeping them alive. But he's got no pigeons to heal them up. Now finally his chameleons go down, but they took out a lot of tier 1 and tier 2. I think they got more done than Snek's skunks. And it looks like Snek is definitely overextending here. The Snek taking the most dangerous expand. Is it? How is this more dangerous than this? I mean, they're both pretty much equidistant. This one's on the high ground. They're both on high ground. And this one is behind all his warrens already. Anyway. Another fight coming in, and Araloo takes that very comfortably. Snake is ahead of... Snake is ahead on economy by one farm, but he's been taking much more significant losses in these engagements. I think the losses clear up, and his composition is better at the moment. Chameleons just beat skunks well if you can micro them right, and Araloo's micro has been really good on these skunks. And now he's getting onto warrens. Snek is doing the I'm going to scout my opponent's base to get more information for the next round, and Araloo takes game 1. Wait, did Araloo fight Ziggy as well? Alright, Araloo. He's on a bit of a tear at the moment. Can anybody stop him? Okay, Snek going with the same loadout. Araloo also going with the same loadout. No changes from either player. Only difference between them are the cams instead of skunks. We're going through these games quickly. No, the Snek was yellow. Araloo was red. Aralu has been playing Common Folk for all of his games so far. Last game, Snake was Archimedes. Snake was yellow. Snake was the one with the skunks, and Snake lost. Alright. So. Yep, 1-0 Aralu. Aralu's looking pretty good right now. And he's got a nice safe base. 2 easy gristmills to defend. Snake has more gristmills, but they're a little bit more spread out. Once he starts taking these, it should be fairly easy for Aralu to do some cam run-bys. Aralu placing his warrens in an interesting fashion. He puts his tier 1 warrens behind his farms, but puts his chameleon warrens in front? Interesting. Maybe there is an entrance here, so maybe he's worried about getting attacked that way, but it's blocked off by a campfire, so we'll get some warning about it. The score is 1-0 to Aralu, and apparently Snake stood on a mine that I didn't notice, so he's going to be coming in here with some injured units. I think Aralu can take this, especially as his chameleon is about to come out. Is he going to keep the... He does keep the warren. But that's the risk of leaving them so far forward. He nearly lost it. I think I know why Snake was going for that. He wanted to get it before the chameleon comes out. He was just a little bit too late. Well, actually, he wasn't too late. He was just a little bit too weak. And now, Aralu pushing the advantage, coming right onto these farms. Getting 2 of them. He's having to retreat now. But I think Snake is looking like he's going to overextend in turn. I don't think he's got enough to take this. As the chameleon heals, the second one is already out. The warren does... Oh, the warren doesn't quite go down. And now, these snakes these squirrels are getting picked off by the chameleons, as the falcons get picked off by the squirrels, and Snake surrenders. Snake has said, GG. That's Snake out of the tournament, and Aralu keeps on going. Aralu's a pretty monstrous player, it turns out. Alright, so... We've got Kolaru versus Gustav. Is that the next one? Do we want to do Skeleton versus Aralu live? Is that something we can do? I know Skeleton was in the chat. Or do we just want to go on to Gustav and Kolaru? I mean, I don't know if I've got the predictions for who's going to get out of who's going to win the Underworld on hand. But I don't think anyone predicted Aralu isn't online. Darn. Okay, then I guess that's... I guess you haven't played yet, either. Underworld winner, Jerp, Kolaru, Skeleton, Doohoo, Oep, Doohoo, James, Doohoo, Kerper, Doohoo, Pyle, lol, Doohoo, Split, Kobe, Zom, Pyle, this guy, QQ, this guy, this guy. No one's predicted Aralu to get to the top, but at the moment, he's looking like the favourite. He's got the longest way to go, but... Alright, so I guess we just do Kolaru versus Gustav if we can't do Aralu versus Skeleton. Well, I don't think anyone... Maybe no one expected you to die, Law Friendly. Maybe. Alright. Gustavums versus Kolaru. These players have been around a lot longer than Aralu, and they're pretty well known. But we're seeing some very disparate styles come in. Gustav Arms seems to play Tooth and Tail very by the book. You know, he always goes for what's meta. Or at least he seems to in my games. And Kolaru just isn't playing the same game as everyone else. I'm pretty sure Kolaru is like trying to play Connect 4 or something. He just does whatever he wants. And you see that those styles come out in their loadouts. Gustav Orm's going with Squirrel, Pigeon, Mole, Falcon, Skunk, Boar. Also known as the This Guy loadout. Because it was popularized so much by this guy. Proven very hard to beat and very flexible. Kolaru going with Squirrel, Falcon, Skunk, Chameleon, Fox, Mine. 3 tier 2, no pigeons, and a fox. Slightly weird. And with these mills being so close together now, I'm wondering how this is going to end up. Kolaru's put some mines down to give himself time to rebuild. How is he going to be able to take the moles? He's going to have to be relying on some good mine hit, I think. Because Mole Squirrel generally beats raw Squirrel. Although, with the extra damage from the mines, Kolaru is able to hold that back. I wonder if he's ever going to be brave enough. He is brave enough to take a farm on this mill. Well, that puts Kolaru behind. He's got no more mines put down. I expect him to lose at least one Warren here. And if Kolaru loses his position, he can lose the match very easily. But he is holding for now. He does lose the Warren. And that is a problem because Gustav Arms has 4 tier 1 Warrens to Kolaru's 3. But Kolaru has got his farm up. So that's not only a bit of extra defense. It's going to give him an extra economy. And this mill, I saw Kolaru testing that out. It looked like that campfire was able to shoot that corner pig. And Gustav Arms comes in while Kolaru was trying to make sure that didn't happen. So Kolaru doing what I think is the right thing to do and going for the squirrels instead of the moles. The squirrels deal the real damage to units. Moles are definitely not weak as hell. Moles are still so hard to kill, and they still do just as much damage to Warrens, that it's basically... Gustav Arm's just been suiciding in, and he's got multiple Warrens from it. If you do that with a large enough number, you can just cripple your opponent, and they don't have time to rebuild the Warrens before you can move in, given how quickly moles and squirrels rebuild. And moles didn't receive any health nerfs, so they're still just as tanky. But Kolaru manages to hold off. Just about. He's ahead in economy now. Gustav decides to stop attacking and goes to build his own mill. Kolaru getting Skunk Chameleon out. He should be able to very easily handle any more squirrel mole pushes. If Aralu goes online in this stream, it would be nice to see if we could do the match live. Alright, so Skunk versus Skunk. Oh, but Kolaru's mine's getting huge results there, killing a Skunk, as well as I don't think they got any tier 1, but they definitely scared Gustav off. And Kolaru, rather than try and take these very forward farms, is just going to expand to the next mill. I think that's probably the safe move. It does put him slightly behind. It gives Gustav time to catch up on economy and actually go ahead on economy. I'm surprised Kolaru hasn't taken this campfire, honestly. But he's going for the fox, as well as the falcons. Gustav has sold his second Skunk Warren. He hasn't managed to scout the fox yet. I think he'll go in there next time. Although what I've discovered from having falcons, playing falcons more, is it's a lot easier to stop your opponent scouting you when you've got falcons up. They just do so much damage. If Gustav had ferrets, ferrets are overperforming but underpicked. Honestly, I think that's a fair way to put it. They're devastating when they are actually picked. But there's just so many times when ferrets do nothing. Like, ferrets are such a... they've got such a niche role. If you've got high ground like this, then yeah, ferrets are amazing. If you're up against turrets, ferrets are amazing. But if you're up against falcons and chameleons, which you will be a lot of the time, then maybe ferrets aren't so amazing. But it is possible to get some seriously good work done with ferrets. Anyway, enough about ferrets. Let's talk about the match in front of us, where there aren't any ferrets. Kolaru's well ahead in army at the moment, and getting ahead on economy. He has the entire rest of the map to himself now. He's secured it all off with mines. He's taking a third gristmill rather than fill out this one. That might be a bit cautious, overly cautious, but... at this point, you're already ahead. Why not play it safe? Gustav has placed down his own tier 3. That's just finished building the Warren. The boar is starting to build. But Kolaru has 50 seconds of poking with his fox that Gustav has no real answer to. Thing is, I don't think Kolaru is going to get anything valuable from this. He has to move up the high ground, and there's so much tier 1 to clear out before he can hit those falcons, which are the really, like, juicy target here. And this boar is nearly built already. I do wonder if this boar is going to be enough for Gustav. He's only got 2 falcons to pair with it. He's relying much more on tier 1. And Kolaru has quite a bit of tier 2. Kolaru isn't so tier 1 reliant, he's much more tier 2 based. And Gustavon's trying to attack over the water. He's gonna probably hit a mine. No, he goes around the mines, mostly. But his army is getting hit in the back. I think this is going to be a bad engagement for Gustavon. He's already lost a lot of squirrels. This boar's taken a lot of damage. And once the boar goes down, that's basically it for Gustav. More about ferrets, come on Pimp. I mean, what's there to say? Ferrets are good, but they're kind of map and loadout dependent. They either win you the game single-handedly, or they lose you the game single-handedly. On that map, against that loadout, if either player had ferrets, they probably would have done really well. Especially for Gustav, because of the massive hill. And also because of how far forward Kolaru was placing his warrens. But you can't guarantee that every game. And still, no player decided to go for ferrets. Although Kolaru, interestingly, decides to go with no fox. Or falcons, decides to go pigeon mole instead. I'm always slightly wary of any deck that that decides to cut tier 3 completely. I mean, there are a lot of games where the tier 3s just don't matter because neither player gets there. And if Kolaru can end it before tier 3 becomes a factor, that's good. But he doesn't really have any answer to boar. He doesn't really have any answer to badger. His only answer to fox would be to mass tier 1. Oh, I guess the mines. I guess he could handle a fox. Owl would be tricky, but with enough pigeons he could do it, I suppose. No, I'm not sure he could. I'm not sure about this deck from Coloru. I think if you're not going to take tier 3, you're going to want to take snakes or falcons that can pick off a tier 3. Or or especially falcons that you can just sort of build up into huge numbers to sort of qualify as their own pseudo tier 3. $20 mines to counter a tier 3, I mean, maybe. I mean, if tier 3 is worth 360 food, mines are worth 20 a go, so you can get 18 mines for the same cost as a tier 3. That's enough against most of them, I imagine. But another worry is the fact that he's only got squirrels to shoot up with. If Gustav goes a large number of falcons and manages to pick off Coloru's squirrels, Coloru literally cannot do anything. Balloon would really... Nine mines, he gets 180 of that food back. Not necessarily. Only if the tier 3 does work. If the tier 3 walks into a minefield and instantly dies, then the tier 3 was just a waste. I mean, I guess arguably so. I mean, I guess it took out the mines, but it doesn't take. It probably doesn't take 9 mines to kill a tier 3. If he sells the Warren, right. Okay, but you can't have that and the tier 3 at the same time. Alright, well never mind. Let's stop discussing maths and economics and talk about this skunk micro, which is going much worse for Coloru. Coloru's got a really narrow choke point to go through. Water and this destroyed building is forcing him to attack through a very narrow choke point that the skunks love, and one of his skunks gets slightly ahead of the other and dies, which gives Gustavons a pretty solid lead to work with. Gustavon's going to press the advantage, try and come in. It looks like he'll have this. Coloru definitely needed his chameleons out earlier. Skunks by themselves can't take mole squirrel. Looking like Coloru's sold his chameleons or lost the Warren. He's trying to hold on with these skunks, but I don't think he's going to be able to. He's already behind in economy, he's losing Warrens, and Gustav takes game 2. Not much to say there. Just a very standard skunk timing push. Alright, first match to go to game 3. Let's see how it works. And Coloru, okay, Gustav is sticking with the this boar deck. And Coloru is going with a much more Coloru style deck. Squirrel, falcon, skunk, fox, barbed wire, artillery cannon. No mines, which is a bit of a shock, but it's good to see the arty coming out. I mean, that last game really came down to Coloru mismicroed his skunks, the Gustavons microed them a bit better, and the Gustavons just had a 60 food advantage to work with. But I think the composition of squirrel moles can't be held back by skunks alone. Not unless you're very good with your skunk micro, because the skunks, if they shoot the moles, then they're not hitting the squirrels. Like, anytime there is two different types of tier 1, the skunks tend to struggle. Because they'll only focus one at a time. It means that at least one group of tier 1 is going to be pretty unscathed by skunk gas. So, how's this work? Kolaru is sort of the master at arty cannons. So I can't really predict how he's going to use it. I imagine he wants to take this mill and stick one. If he can get one on this high ground, I think that's probably the end goal. I don't think he can do that physically now that this mill's been taken. I don't think this mill pushes it far enough. And this high ground is going to give Kolaru a bit of trouble if he places an arty cannon close up. Thing is, Kolaru could just take this mill and then he could put an arty cannon. Okay. I think Kolaru will want to put barbed wire on that one spot on the high ground. And then, yeah, he's putting barbed wire there to give his arty cannon vision. And then he'll put an arty cannon somewhere on the low ground. I imagine somewhere near this rock for the maximum possible range. 1, 2... It's hard to count tiles. But I don't think it reaches the mill from there. It reaches some of these warrens, I think. Okay, it's going back a little further than I expected, but that makes it safe. And I don't think Gustav can really push this now that the barbed wire's there, especially if his commander dies. That's going to give this artillery cannon about 10 seconds to work with. I don't know. How long does it take a commander to respawn? I don't think it is 10 seconds. It doesn't feel like 10 seconds. Okay, the Gustav going straight for the boar, and boar with its building crit should do pretty well. Kolaru's getting out some falcons. Maybe he's predicting this, or maybe he just wants falcons. Why sell mill? I think it was to psych out Gustav. I don't know. But he took it again pretty quickly. Okay, campfire first. Will it hit the warrens? It does. Forces a cell, but that's all it can hit. Unfortunately. Okay, Kolaru's going for a fox, but the boar is very far ahead. Boar warren is nearly complete. He's getting up a second artillery cannon. This is all going to come down to how much work can the boar get done. If this artillery cannon was one tile forward, I think it might have been able to hit the mill. This one is definitely going to be able to hit the mill, but I don't know if that's going to be enough, as a Gustav will already have his army up by then. And a Gustav is going with a lot of tier 2, which makes sense. A lot of falcons, sorry. Which makes sense, they can't be hit by the arty cannon. And Kolaru's supply blocked on the fox, so that's a non-factor. And I don't think Kolaru ever scouted this boar, he did not. I don't know if he expects it though. He is building a lot of falcons. That could just be because he expects Gustav to go falcons. Okay. The boar's out. Oh, Kolaru's commander goes down. That is huge. But the boar is going down. Now, both artillery cannons have gone down as well. But I think Kolaru's winning this fight. He gets all the falcons. Gustav has nothing but pigeons. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but Kolaru took that fight. When his commander went down, I thought he was screwed. But no, he takes a boar down, he takes all the falcons, and then he's able to just... Needed to go through water. I suppose that would have helped. Would have slowed you down for long. I gotta be honest, I was not expecting that. I was expecting that fight to go a lot closer. Right. Right then, where are we? Okay, so... Araloo isn't online, so we can't do Skeleton versus Araloo. We can't do Shadow versus anyone, as Shadow needs to face whoever beat them. So Coloru's moving on to... So Skeleton will face Araloo, and then the winner of that will face Shadow, and then the winner of that will face Coloru. And then they will move on to the next stage of the Underworld. So Araloo is holding us all up. So, let's see. So we've got some other duel games to go through. We've got QQ versus Gabony. And we've got Dazon's Run. Let's see how they do. So, QQ, we are going to see some ferrets. QQ loves his ferrets. Interesting that we see an owl come out. That's it of the Underworld for now. The Underworld cannot continue until Araloo gets online. Unfortunately, that's all that happens. And I don't think that last game between Coloru and Gustav did come down just to territory, just to the map gen. The barbed wire on the high ground was a good call. I'm wondering if, I don't know, maybe... I'm wondering what Gustav could have done. But once the first arty cannon gets up, it's really hard to push into. Because it just takes so much time to build up the army necessary to push it. Okay, so Gabony putting his warrens down very far forward. QQ is, in some ways, going to be happy to see this. He likes forward warrens, because he can poke them easily with his ferrets. On the other hand, he has gone for a mill and only has one warren up, so he is going to be behind an army. But he does have 2 mines ready to protect him. Oh, mole's coming out. Somehow this mine got avoided, but not for long. Are these moles gonna get out in time to be a big factor? No! Gabony engages early. And now these moles aren't going to be able to win by themselves. So Gabony has to sell. I think Gabony had a good push brewing there. But he was a little itchy on the trigger finger. Maybe was holding too far forward. Could have maybe just held on this high ground. Keep the reinforcement distance, let his moles build up, and then move in. Now, can he defend this? He does have defender's advantage, but he isn't there to micro. And that's a huge difference. Especially as these moles need to be sent in. But when the moles do come out, they provide enough tanking that Gabony is able to see off this attack. He's continuing to push though, which... Good, okay, he moves back, So far we're still on tier 1. No one feels safe enough to go up to tier 2 yet. Looking at the map, I think it definitely goes in Gabony's favour. Look at all of these mills he can take. Even this mill is probably his. QQ is basically trapped here unless he can really make something happen. How many lives is QQ on at this point? Does anybody know? I should probably have got up the thing so I could check. Alright, so Gabony isn't able to take down. I think he got a warren, but he wasn't able to take down QQ's army. And QQ is now going ahead in economy with 2 farms. Okay, QQ is slightly ahead in economy, in army, but that's partly because of these mines. He is ahead in economy. Gabony needs to start expanding. I expect him yet to take that mill. That's the obvious expansion. QQ might be going a bit too hard on mines at this point, but I understand why he wants such a good defense setup, because he's got an owl deck. He basically wants to be able to play really greedy, but that's 200 food. 220 food he's put into mines. Oh, and a badger coming down from Gabeney. Now, QQ has a spotty record against badger. He does struggle to fight it. He tends to not take decks good against it. I know he's been looking to change that recently. But generally, QQ, I've been seeing him run the Fox recently, as well as some other tier 1s. He does have Falcons. He can mess Falcons up to fight the badger. Falcons and Owl can actually take a badger. The Owl mice actually provide a useful service of tanking for the Falcons. Okay, is QQ going to move in? He is well ahead in army. 200 of that has gone to mines though, so he might be inflated. There's one squirrel able to shoot this warren. He decides to stay behind and finish his mission, but dies pointlessly. Mole squirrel is definitely better against pure squirrel. And when the badger comes out, it depends how much Gabeney walks into these mines. There are a lot of mines down. Ah, that explains it. QQ did scout the tier 3 at some point. I never saw it. I was probably too distracted by chat, knowing me. But Gabeney, I'd say, has a pretty solid loadout at the moment. But if he's going to send his moles forward first to clear the mines for the badger. Okay, but a badger can be taken down by just a sheer mass of squirrels. It has got a chance to rev up though, which is... Oh, but it's lost all its pigeons. Gabeney... Oh, Gabeney's managing to micro this badger well, but he sends it into a mine and it gets picked off. All these mines from QQ. And that's basically it for Gabeney. He needs to sell that badger warren. He's only on one farm. And QQ's going to move in. I don't think he's going to have time to rebuild. So many mines from QQ were able to get the job done. All those mines, all those squirrels. Not enough pigeons coming from Gabeney. They died too soon. And mole squirrel is better against mole than raw squirrel, but not when you can't afford any. And it looks like QQ takes it. I saw the same thing when QQ failed to step back when the badger lost her. I thought the badger was going to take it. When the badger survived the initial engagement, got revved up, was able to start picking off squirrels and go straight onto warrens, but underestimated the mines. So QQ takes it. Right, and I need to download these Zon games. Where is QQ expected to get to? Tosh, Jet, Tosh, Tosh. QQ and Pyle are predicting that he'll go all the way. A couple are predicting he'll go to Weasel, but a lot of people predicting he'll die on me or on Jet. And he's actually third in the predictions at the moment, which is interesting. Alright. Oh, and I've been knocked down all the way to joint fourth. What a shame. Dr. Neil's me playtech, despite being knocked out pretty quickly of the tournament itself, is winning the predictions contest with Pyle in second place. So far, the two of the winners are guys who aren't even in the tournament anymore. Now, do I need to restart the game for this to work? No, I don't. Alright, Duel 3. When does Camel think you'll die? Camel thought you would die on Jet. I mean, Gentleman had you down for Gabeney. Delphius thought Pedro would kill you. And Gabeney thought Pingu would kill you. But you've proven them wrong. Let's see how Anzu fares against Zon. Or should I say Zon against Anzu? I should probably, because Zon is the challenger. Alright, Squirrel, Pigeon, Mole, Falcon, Chameleon, Wolf. Against Squirrel, Lizard, Ferret, Skunk, Boar, Wolf. I'm excited by Anzu's loadout here. Anything that has 2 tier 3s in. Dino, what did you put him for? You said he'd go to Weasel. You said Weasel would get him. Right, so looking at this map, I think Anzu's going to have a hard time of it. He needs to hold somewhere out here in order to protect these mills. If he can do that, he'll have an advantage because he's got more mills available to him. But Zon has this mill, and that will probably be enough. And they'll be relatively easy to defend. It's unlikely Anzu can sneak his way in with lizards to do some run-bys here. And he's got no way out. Actually, I tell a lie. He can get up here and go around the back. So, maybe that base in the top isn't as safe as I thought. But his ferrets are going to struggle to work against this high ground. If I was Anzu, I'd probably be going straight for a boar on a base like this. Large rush distance. Campfire protecting you. Just stick a boar down here. You've got plenty of Warren build space on this high ground. Could work. So what's Zon going for? Zon has expanded. Anyone know what live Zon is on? I should probably check. Also, where's he expected to get to? Anyone? There are Delphius and Eris and Moose all think that Anzu is going to win this and kill Zon, but most people are expecting him to get further. Okay, I'll have to just cast a game. Zon has 3 lives. Okay. Okay, so we're seeing ferrets come out for Anzu and chameleons come out for Zon. Skunks as well for Anzu. Skunks and ferrets both lose to chameleons. I'm not sure if this is going to work out well for Anzu here. And it looks like he wants to be the aggressor, taking these campfires down. The only reason you take down a campfire place like this was so you could move in. And I think Anzu really should have left it until this mill was secure and until he had his skunks up, because he's not going to push in then anyway. Now I don't know, is anyone tracking how many kills people have, like the bosses have? He won't access the Underworld if he's dead. Why not? Does the Underworld only go to people who die first? Alright, we're seeing an engagement come in. Zon's commander nearly goes down. One of the chameleons goes down pretty quickly. All the tier 2 stays alive for Anzu, but he loses so much tier 1. So I'm not sure who really... It ended up being pretty even for that, but Anzu might have the ability to poke. I think he shouldn't though. I think he should play this safe. He's losing his tier 2 now. Both his skunks go down, as well as one of his ferrets. He had the skunks for the mass tier 1 that Zon was playing with, but it was a very risky move to push in there. I understand why he wanted to do it, but I think he could have waited to have more tier 1 built up. And now that Anzu's trying to go catch up on farms, it's giving Zon time to move in with a much larger army. And an army that counters Anzu pretty effectively. I don't think Anzu's going to win this. I think we might be looking at GG here. I think Zon's about to move through with all 3 lives still intact. And he does. Anzu calls GG. And Zon keeps on moving. Alright. Pedro. Last time I casted Pedro games, I nearly had an aneurysm due to how poorly he played. Let's see if he'll have picked up slightly. By the way, I went back and watched me cast that game. I was perhaps a bit harsh to Pedro. I mean, we all make mistakes, but they were very, very strange mistakes Pedro was making. I do think Pedro is maybe not going to appear in my stream quite as often, though. Might have lost a follower there. But seriously, that first game against Blue Coon was just fucking bizarre. Alright, so let's see how he does this time. He's got Squirrel, Pigeon, Falcon, Chameleon, Owl, Turret against Squirrel, Lizard, Pigeon, Falcon, Chameleon, Wolf. Zon working with the same loadout. And I think Owl, this is a loadout Owl's been using most of the time as well. He is slightly behind an army because he expanded first, but I think he should be able to hold it. Squirrels would... I don't think Squirrels would be able to hit from this high ground. So I think Owl is safe from that. Is he going to spot this run by? Or is he going to lose? I think he's going to lose a farm here. Probably 2. Nope, Zon just settles for the 1. I think he could have easily got that second one. But, you know, take what you can. Owl could stop. If I was Owl here, I'd be very tempted to just stick a turret on this side and just cut off all future lizard nonsense. At the moment, he's playing quite greedy. He needs to scout this tier 2 from Zon, and he hasn't so far. Okay, but he is putting his own chameleons down. Problem is, they're very far behind. Zon has the potential to do a devastating attack here while he has both chameleons up. But Owl does have good defensive, a pretty solid defensive position. And if he puts down a turret in the right place, which he didn't, he put it in the back line. So Owl is going to lose 2 farms and lose most of his army to this chameleon. And that was only 1 chameleon. The other chameleon is unscathed. The squirrels finally go down, and Zon is forced to retreat. But I mean, Owl lost 3 farms there. It is relatively even, since he took 3 farms here, so it's not knocked him out. But the fact that Zon has managed to take these 2 campfires does give him a good spot to work with. Although, he's going to... While Zon tries to do a lizard run by, Pedro's going to come in with his own units and get a bit of damage done. But I think he might get caught off in the retreat. His chameleons go down first, and that's usually the deciding factor of who wins chameleon fights. So Al, he got a campfire there, but he lost a lot of army. And he did lose his turret as well, which, I mean, basically paid for itself. It killed more lizards. Oh, Pedro's definitely behind an econ now. Zon has managed to... While I was busy reading the chat, Pedro... I mean, we're going for a base trade here, but Al definitely loses this. And so he does. Al really needed to play more defensive there. There was no reason he had to attack. But I don't think he made a lot of choices based on bad information. He didn't scout too well that game. I know Zon versus Gabany. Oh, Zon versus... Oh, you mean they haven't actually played? Okay. Why did you send them? Well, whatever. So we're what, an hour and 20 minutes in, and we've run out of games to cast because Araloo isn't online. So at the moment, Zon is on Gabany, but still on 3 lives. Not necessarily. It could have been. It could have been that Pedro won. I could have thought, oh, either Zon wins or Pedro wins, or Zon wins and Zon versus Gabany hasn't happened yet. I mean, do you want to do show matches? I've got no problem casting